welcome to the Unmasked with Cassidy Megan podcast. So today we're learning a bit about Adel's book and how you are impacted by epilepsy. So my first question, Adel, first off, is do you want to give a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, why not? So my name is Adel. I live in France. My daughter has Dravet Syndrome, and I try to advocate here for epilepsy, for Dravet Syndrome. When Dravet Syndrome came into our life, it was like a nightmare because we are not supposed to receive this information. It was like a heartbreak. At the beginning, we thought it would be only epilepsy because doctor says it will to live after 9 years, maybe 10. But after we have received the blood results, it was doctor said, okay, this is genetic, so we cannot do anything. You just have to take medication, and that's it. And see you in 6 months, and that's it. Doctors leave you alone, and then you have to find a solution. You have to cope with it. And what was your question after?
So our next question, my question would be, how does epilepsy affect you?
So epilepsy, it affects in every part of our life. It work, a problem of issue, health issue, the problem, the relation with my wife also, because we have to make concessions. You have to plan everything. You cannot do. You cannot say, okay, I leave and I come back. We have always to discuss about what we have to do. You have. It's quite complicated. This is like you have to organize everything. Also for work, because my wife stopped working at the beginning when we received the diagnosis of Dravet syndrome. So one of us had to stop working. So it was completed because now my wife doesn't have any more social work relation anymore. So it's quite frustrating sometimes. So this is a very huge effect in our life. And personally, on my health also, I had some issues like a heart, blood pressure, hypertension because of stress, and I didn't make attention of it. And then one day I collapsed, and then I have to take also medication for the stress and for all the stuff. So epilepsy, it's like in my book I call her the witch. It's quite because I want to personalize her. I don't know how if you understand it. It's, in French, you say it's like a person that I can speak to her, I can attack her, and I can fight her. Because for me, epilepsy, I didn't know what was it the first time. You know, I never see seizure. I never talk about it. In my family, nobody has epilepsy. And when I saw my baby the first time, she was 9 months. She was purple. She was blue. It was 1 hour 30 the first seizure. So we thought she would die because she didn't react. And it was very. It was like a trauma, you know. And I have always in my memory this the first seizure. This stays in my mind and forever, I think. Now she's better with the treatment, the medication, but the first year was very, it was awful. So epilepsy affects us in everyday life. You know, the leisure, you cannot, if you go out, you have to come back. You always have to think of the medication. You have to plan. You have to think about the treatment because she has treatment 3 times per day. And everything is you know, you like the watch, and this is like this, you know. But we try to not to think about it. So we take it as it's okay now. I think I try to.
Okay. And what are some obstacles that you faced and have had to overcome? with as a parent with the child who has epilepsy?
So first, it was incorporation of person, because my daughter, if you look at my daughter, she doesn't seem to be disabled, but she has a very severe genetical disease, severe epilepsy. And she doesn't talk. She doesn't walk very good. She has issue with her knee. She had developmental delays, disorder delays, and psychomotors, we say in English. I don't know how to say it in English, but psychomotors. So she has a lot of specialists to help her to. She cannot take also a pen, in order to write. She cannot write. She cannot read. She's 9 years old, but she's for the moment she cannot. She know only a few words. So when we go to a supermarket, in the whole commercial centers, she wants to touch people because she wants to communicate, and people don't understand why this girl is touching us. So I always have to explain, to educate, to justify. Also, when we go parking in a park place for disabled people, people look at us because we don't look to be disabled. So this is always like like we are people are judging us. So this is very incomprehension. And then also most problem was also the inclusion of our daughter in ordinary school. There was a lot of lack of school assistance, because when you have a disabled child, you cannot take her to ordinary school alone. And when you say she's epileptic, so my God, it was like, oh no, I cannot take it. We are too afraid. So each time she had a seizure, the teacher, they called us, so we cannot do anything. We had to stay next to the school, waiting, like the stress. So it was very complicated, because people don't know what is it, epilepsy. I don't know how it's happened, you guys in Canada or United States, but here in France, people are very afraid about it. They still think that this is a evil sickness, or they still think that maybe it's something that is contagious. So I always try to educate people, so every day.
Definitely. And so you spoke a bit on the stigma in that answer, and what are some ways that helps you deal with the stigma that comes to your way?
The ways to stop the stigma, you said?
Yeah, how do you deal with the stigma presented to you?
I always, you have to be patient first, because otherwise you can get angry with everybody. So you have to take it easy and then relax. But it depends on the day sometimes, because when you didn't sleep all night and you have somebody who's telling you, oh, why this your girl is touching me? She's not well educated, or all these comments that we had that I received every day, but not every day, but it happened. So I always take time to talk people, to educate. This is my the only solution, because people, it's not their fault. They don't know. They cannot imagine that my daughter has such severe disease. So I take time to explain. I take time to always. And also it makes me good to tell this, because sometimes you don't have time to express your emotions or feelings, or sometimes it can be good. So and I try also because I did also books in French, so I have a lot of dedicated sessions, signatories dedicated. How do you say, session to dedicate my books. So I take also this moment to explain people, to educate, to advocate. So I didn't write book for being an author. This is my all these books are made for something. The main objective, the goals are to make people understand, to make them aware that epilepsy is not contagious, that epilepsy is not mentally sickness. So this is only a brain disorder, and people, they don't know it. They don't know. They think it's more than, or sometimes they say, oh, okay, you have epilepsy, you just collapse and it's okay. But they don't imagine that there has a lot of consequences after. And you know that because when you do seizure, you are tired. And I saw my daughter when she's having a seizure, she sleeps 2 hours after that, and the whole day now, the day after, it's very complicated. Huh? So I think you know so we live every day with epilepsy. She's like I say colocataire in France. I don't know how to say in English, but she's like living with us. So we have to live with her, with it. I say her, but it. And she's like a person, the fourth person of our. We are 4 persons in our home, I say. So I may be a little bit mad, but this is how I express it in my books. You know, this is the only way for me to express my sorrow, to express my sadness, because there is no, unfortunately, there is no cure for my daughter. So the only way could be genetical therapy, Jenny, but it will be very long for the researcher to do it. So to stop the stigma, I try every day to explain. Every day I try to, and it can be anybody. You know, when I go buy a book, when I go do my shopping, you know, it can be any person. Any person can be aware, can be made, or can be. I can make aware anybody. I hope you understand what I say.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great way to deal with it. What is something you wish people knew about epilepsy?
I wish they knew a lot of things, because first of all, the first medical rescue on the street. You know, when somebody is having a seizure, most of people doesn't know what they have to do. So they don't know. They put their hands in the mouth, and they still think that the tongue is they can they can die. But this is like a cliche. So here, so, and even for nurses in hospital, at least sometimes I've heard that some nurses told that it's very it's quite surprising, you know, because we are in 2000 to 2020 and people still don't know that. So and then I wished also that the government will make more communication on it. You know, there are a lot of disease that people, you know, like I don't care that people talk about a lot of autism, or you know, a lot of other disease, but people don't take so much about epilepsy. And I wish that they will do more communication, that maybe some session at school for the young people. I wish that. So that's why I go to school also. I don't know if I told you, but when I take time after work or before going to work, I go to schools and try to educate young people, very young. So, and it's quite surprising, and it's very emotional, because they ask you real questions, you know, like is your daughter's gonna die, or is your daughter, you know, they ask a real question. It's not like adult, you know. Uh, Young people go straight to the point. They don't.
They don't
They
beat
don't
around the
take.
bush at all.
Yeah, you understand what I mean. So,
Yeah, they
so
just they shoot straight through it.
I wish that the government will do a lot of training people. They will train teachers. They will train school assistants. But all this take it needs money. But so I think that they will invest more money in that.
Definitely. Why do you think it's important to support local agencies and be involved with the agencies, epilepsy agencies?
I think that this is the most important thing because first you can benefit from support for others. Sometimes doctors don't have time to respond to your questions. So when you are in an association or a trust or as you say the agency epilepsy, you can benefit from support, from help from others. So it can be great. That's what I did first when I received the diagnosis for my daughter. So, but I think that also the more people we are together, the more we will raise our voices higher. So we can make, we will have much more weight, you know. So the more we will be together, the more we can fight discrimination and stop the stigma about epilepsy. So this is very important that everybody we stick together, you know. And there is a lot of epilepsies, you know, a lot of different types. So it's very important that we all stick together.
Definitely. And speaking with sticking together, you're part of the Dravet Syndrome Group there, correct?
This is called Alliance Syndrome Dravet in French. Yes.
All right. Could you tell us a bit about the group and how they help?
So I am the North delegate in my region for this association. So I'm the northeast of France. So we try to represent in all of France, you know. But this is a quite a little association. So we have only 150 families only. So this is not a big association, but we try to gather every year in November in Paris for the general, this, they call it Assemblée Générale, you know, this is the day that we meet all together, families, parents, some experts of epilepsy in France, and we take 2 days session and we talk and we, so it's very, very good. So the association is made to help people first to, sometimes if somebody's need support, you can send an email, you can have, if you have a question, so the association reply, we have an email. The association also can help you to finance some materials for epilepsy, you know. So it can help also, it can give sometimes for parents to have a rest for a weekend. So they can also for grant you a trainee for something special, like I don't know, where you want to apply for administrative file for a financial investment or financial service for something. We can train, so you can train the person. So it's yeah, I think this is very important that we can rely on this as a parent, because sometimes when you feel lost, you don't know how to do, and Dravet syndrome is very rare. There are only 300 people in France, so this is very, very rare. And in my region, I don't know Dravet syndrome, so it's very you feel very lost at the beginning, and hopefully. Thanks to Facebook and social networks, I discovered a lot of families.
It sounds amazing. I'll definitely look. If you could send me how to spell out the name, I can share some. I can look them up and.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Share things.
Do you know some maybe some families Dravet in Canada, maybe in your contact, or do you have some? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe it can help me, because I know that in each country they have their association, you know, and we have also, we are part, the French association is part of the European Federation Association, you know, so it's quite complicated, but it's like Europe, you know, everybody has its own own boss, you can say, but it's good that it's very positive that we see that all these parents, you know, we are only volunteer. We do it. We take time to do that. You know, nobody's paid for that. You know, and this is very. Normally, it should not be our role to do that. It should be our deputy. It should be our government. You know, but we have to do it. If I don't do it, who will do that? So, and now our children are quite adult now, but we do it for the next generation. You know, all this is like we prepare for next generation. Also, the research and the medication for our children. I will say I don't say it's too late, but it will take time to have a miracle medication.
Yeah, unfortunately, it will take time to have that miracle medication, but I think it's in the works. And you are your daughter's voice, but you're also the voice for so many. And even by doing this, I really appreciate it. And by writing your books, they're really amazing. I love the part of the books that you sent me. Did you want to? I know you wrote it for your daughter, like on you and to help you. Do you want to read some of it? Maybe even show it on the screen so people can see what it looks like. If you have a favorite passage from it you'd like to share.
This is my third book actually. This one is in English, and the first ones are in French. And so this is poetry, as you know. I don't know if you read, because in the link I sent you there is some. There are only 2 poems that you can read, and also the forward. But what is good is that with this format, people can buy it anywhere with a digital format. So you can read it on your PC, and it's much more, it's cheaper, you know, because if you can read it on your PC, and it's good. And this is like, when I wrote this, it's like I will say a testimony, you know, because my daughter doesn't understand what I'm doing now. She doesn't know that I'm fighting for her. She doesn't understand even when she's having a seizure. She collapses, and then she sleeps, and then she's awakened, and then she's smiling. You know, she doesn't have any. She doesn't have any. She doesn't have any conscious of that. So I wrote all this book, maybe in the hope that maybe one day she can read, and maybe she will see what her father did for her. And also I did it for all epileptic people, because each poem is like a little, you know, a little movie. I don't know how to explain it, but each poem has its own signification. In one poem I speak about the medication. In another one I speak about my problem with the inclusion of my daughter. So maybe I can read one of them if you want.
Definitely.
I don't know which one, but I will maybe I will read the first poem I wrote in French. This is the first that made me, let's say, famous. I don't like this word, but in France, because when you know, I didn't have a Facebook before, and I know one day I say, okay, maybe I will have open an account, and then I sent this poem on my. It was my first publication, you know, on Facebook. It was quite. And I received so many messages. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that it will affect, it will be so emotional for, and not only epileptic people. You know, I have so many supports here in France with people from a lot of disease, because in my books, I don't speak only about epilepsy. I speak about disability in general, about inclusion, about the rejects from society. I speak about all these problems that as a parent we have to face. And we feel like, you know, I say in French, we are living dans un monde parallèle. I say that we are living in a parallel world. I don't know if you know what I mean, but when you enter the disability world, you will never come back as before, because you lose friends, you lose colleagues, you lose maybe some part of family, everything changes. Everything is not the same. So, and of course, you have to be very strong with your wife or husband, because when you have a disabled child, it can be very, very complicated in a couple. So you have to do concessions, you have to be strong, you have to always take it and take it. You have to take, and but sometimes you collapse. And when I wrote all these poems I wrote was always in when my daughter was in emergency as hospital. So for me, poetry was like a survival weapon. I needed to write because I couldn't see her face having a seizure. For me, it was too. I'm not ashamed to say it, but as a father, I cannot see her watching. I'm always crying because I cannot. She's so pure, she's so innocent, and I cannot understand why a baby has to support all this. And maybe because of all of these words, maybe because of all my sincerity, all persons were so emotionally touched by the words. And then after that, people told me, why don't you translate it in English or maybe in Spanish? I say, okay, I speak English, so I can do it. But and then I think about it and I did it. And I'm quite very, when I look at this book, sometimes when I read it, I say, okay, oh my God, did you write it this? I'm not sure that I wrote. When I read some words, it's like it's not me, I don't know how to say it, but it's very strange. So maybe I will read this poem. It's called Sad Fairy Tale. And it talks about my daughter having an epilepsy, a seizure, concretely. And I try to explain it with easy words for children, maybe to understand it. So, come next to me, my child. I want you to stay by my side. Let me hold you in my arms. Let me put an end to these arms. Although your disease is hard to greet, we will pray God every day to fix it. Although you are not able to speak, I can see in your eyes that you are weak. I know you would like to play, but you are too tired today. I know you would like to live normally with the other kids at the birthday party. Fall asleep now, I'm asking you. Otherwise the witch will catch you. Close your eyes very deep and start counting sheep. But your cheeks are already red. The witch is getting in your head. Very quickly, I take the thermometer, but it's too late to stop the fever. By the stroke of her magic wand, the witch takes you to a mystical land. Your eyes are now revolving, your whole body starts shaking. Once again, she's taking us hostage, and she's causing serious damage. She made us sign an undetermined contract, which brought in our life a huge impact. Once again, she brought you down. She made you kneel to the ground. She will never leave you peacefully. This witch is called epilepsy. Please go back to sleep, honey. Keep your strength up quickly. Although she took all your energy, you're stronger than her when you're happy. And that's it. I hope you liked it.
It was beautiful, and it gave mom goosebumps. She's eyes with a little water, I think.
Adele, you were amazing. You made my eyes water, and my heart goes out to you. And
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It was good. It was to hear that put into such words. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Did you hear it? My accent was not very good, so I don't know if you understand everything. Sorry.
No, you're doing
amazing.
You're doing lovely, sweetheart.
Thank you. And all this, the book is made by all this type of poem. In other poem, I speak about the medication, and I speak about the, you know, when you researchers, they took mouses, you know, to do the research. So I speak to a mouse. It can be, you know, sometimes strange, but I speak to a mouse. I speak to a pill, you know, sometimes, and I think I take everything and I personalize it, and it makes maybe things easier to understand for people who doesn't live with epilepsy. And that's what a lot of parents told me. You use so easy words to speak about so complicated situation, and that's what very. And I'm very surprised when I receive a lot of message like this, because you know, when I write, I feel like I'm another person. I don't know, you know what I mean. So it's when I, you know, sometimes even when I sleep, I have to get up to write sometimes, because I have in my brain, I have a lot of ideas about poems, and then I write and I write, and I think this gives me the strength to cope with it.
Definitely. I know we're definitely going to be ordering one of your books, because I think your words are very true and powerful, and they resonate well with so many. And I want to share it with as many people as I can with you.
Oh, thank you.
What would be so your daughter was diagnosed at age 7, and she's 9 now, correct?
Yeah.
Try to figure out how to word the question. If you could give parents of children living with epilepsy a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh my God. So this is a very huge question, because you, first of all, I will say that you may think that you are alone, but you are not alone. If you take time to search in internet, if you know the disease of your child, maybe if you have the chance to, because sometimes people don't know. I speak about genetic situation. I'm not speaking about epilepsy in general, but it can happen. But if you are not alone, if you take the time to research, maybe you can find support in association. You can find solution. It's not definitely the end, you know. And also, if medication is not working, this is not the end. You can change it. You just have to take the time with the doctor to change, to speak about what happened, the side effects, and this is you have to be very positive. Otherwise, your child will feel it. And I try to do it me, but sometimes, you know, when I think that I'm gonna break down, I prefer quit the home and I go in my car and break down. You know, I hear music, but and then I come back stronger. But the most important thing is not to stay alone. If you feel that you are very in a bad mood, you have to speak maybe to a psychologist. I don't know. Me, I didn't do it because I have the chance to. I found the chance to write, to express my feelings, and so it helped me a lot. So this is I think that you always and then when you feel so bad, the most important thing is that you have to do is always to not to forget yourself, because I did it. You know, I didn't listen to my body. I had some issues with my health. So if you want to be a good caregiver, you have to think of you also. So this is an advice I will give to a parent.
That's excellent advice, Adele. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to say or share? Any last words?
I think I said everything. I would like to thank you for welcoming me, and this is very emotional, you know, this empathy, you know, because I feel that you, in your eyes, that you are touched, and I feel also in the voice of your mother that the emotion of the world came through internet. They came from France to Canada, and I'm very, very touched for this. And you know, how can I say? This is like, you know, I wrote my second book. I wrote is called Le Beau Malheur in France. It's in translated. It means the nice. When something is bad but beautiful at the same time, you know. You understand what I said? So this is what happened to me, you know. We had this misfortune with this Dravet syndrome, but at the same time, it was like a gift. You know, my daughter was a gift for me because she touched me, she learned me everything. You know, I became a man thanks to her because I'm stronger than before, and people cannot imagine what we live every day until they live it, you know. And I think that, you know, you understand when I say, and maybe you're more. And this is a lesson that my daughter gave me, and all children, all these warriors, the little warriors that we have in every country, they are so brave, and we cannot give up for them. We have to be strong for them, and I will do it until I will fight for her until my last breath. That's definitely it. So until I find the miracle cure. So thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Sorry for maybe it was too sad, or I don't know, but I don't want to, you know, to be the sad boy. But you know, there are also some funny poems in my book. I wanted to say it. This is not only, you know, about crying and sadness. Of course, there is sadness because you know it. With epilepsy, you know, someday you are up, someday you are down, and this is the reflection of my book. You know, this is not everything is not sad. You know. There are some funny words I speak about when you cook, you do treatment, you know, it's like a cook, you know, because you have to take the good recipient, you have to mix. So I think I was not too sad. It was not.
It wasn't too sad at all. It was beautiful. And yes, epilepsy is filled with ups and downs. I actually read your blog earlier that you did with our Global USA partners, the Need Coffin Foundation. It was
love from Purple every day.
yeah. It was really sweet, really touching. Reading your story is wonderful. You are a voice for your daughter again, but also for so many, and you are helping to rewrite the history of epilepsy. And I'm so honored and glad to have you as a Purple Day and partner.
Me too.
What made you decide to publish your writing?
So book at first time, I was encouraged. All people gave me they told me, oh, you should do that. You should collect all your poems and do it because don't keep it for yourself. Give it for community. So first I was not very at ease because I said, okay, I don't want to be in public because I want that I want that this book is the goal of the book will be very how can I say I was shy, you know, to do it at first time because when you do book, you cannot imagine what's happening after. You know, Facebook, it's quite, it's like it's an open window. It's an open window of your life, you know, when you have, you publish a book. So anybody can come to criticize you, anybody can come and say something. So I received a lot of comments, not a lot, but sometimes you say, okay, you did the book for money, or you did the book for you know, all this stuff of jealousy and I took this risk, and now I don't regret because what I did, as I said, maybe if tomorrow I die or something, you know, these books will stay forever, you know, and they will stay for my daughter, and they will stay for all epileptic community, and this is the most important for me. And okay, I said, why not? And I collected all the poems. I sent it, and I wasn't sure it would be released. So I was very surprised. And poetry is not, people think that poetry is very, it's very abstract. This is, people say in poetry, you speak about the sense of the life, you speak about love, you speak about, but in my poetry, this is more direct. We speak about real life. This is not about the humor or something like this.
Amazing.
Thank you for your questions. Yeah, very good questions. And
I will talk soon. Keep in touch, and I look forward to seeing what else you do for epilepsy awareness.
okay, thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.